Welcome to the Petty Outdoors Podcast. We are back again with another episode of the Petty Outdoors Podcast. I've got my guys here with me, Mr. Brian Sweeney and Evan Statler. We're getting back a little bit more usual.
More regular.
I
like it.
We got some new microphones this time, too.
Brand new.
So far, so good, huh?
New.
Professional.
That's right. A few things have changed since the last time we was on a podcast, and we want to start off by talking about those. Not long after was it our first podcast that we talked about the jerky company? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was our first company.
The jerky company. Well, not long after our last podcast, Mr. Kent Rhodes at Louisiana Cypress Smokehouse reached out to me. I didn't need it anyway. He reached out to me and let me know that he had a package on the way to me and told me how much he appreciated us giving him a shout out. And, man, they're just good people.
Good folks.
Just good people.
Yeah. Real good.
And so anyway, we got to talking a little bit, and they are our primary sponsor to the Petty Outdoors Podcast now, and will probably continue to be for some time.
Glad to have them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've been tearing up jerky all evening.
Mine's about gone.
Yeah, we split it all up. So Louisiana Cypress Smokehouse, they carry a spicy jerky, and they carry a regular jerky. They also carry the KISS seasoning. It's Keep It Simple seasoning.
I'm excited for that. We ain't tried it yet.
Yep.
It looks promising.
It looks real promising.
I ain't tried it yet, but it sure looks good. But anyway, if you are interested in getting you some jerky, it is premium jerky. It is the filet mignon of beef jerky. Go to LouisianaCypressSmokehouse.com. You can use code PettyOutdoors, no space, all capitals, and get 10% off your order. So, like I said, LouisianaCypressSmokehouse.com. They are on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm sure they're on some other social media. I'm not exactly. I think they're on TikTok too. I'm not 100% sure about that. I'll have to check that, but they're for sure on Instagram and Facebook. Get on there, give them a shout. Go to their website, place your order, and they will get you taken care of quick. So that covers that. Where you guys want to start off at this time?
We have some stuff written down if you couldn't tell. So,
yeah, we're trying to do a little better about taking notes. And
we had some people post some questions. Let's see, Aaron
Ellis, our good buddy up at the bow shop. We shoot with him regularly. Him and his family. Your wife put in a question. Yeah, not really a question, but I guess it is a question.
Yeah, it is a question. Yeah.
And then Mr. Joe Cook also asked us a question on our Facebook post. If you don't follow our Facebook, hop on there and check it out. We like to get response and feedback on our stuff and try to get content for you guys. But anyway, if you want to start, we can just hop right into it and go with Aaron's question.
First one, yeah.
So Aaron Ellis said, early season bow hunting strategy, make it informative and simple for those just getting into hunting. What are some things that somebody just coming into hunting can do to be successful in archery?
It's not about the money. It's not about your equipment. It's mainly about just your mindset. Because you can have the lowest end equipment and you can still go out there and kill deer. We have some pretty good equipment, but we all started out with cheaper bows, cheaper sights, and matter of fact, I just switched back to a old pin sight instead of a moving sight. So it really just don't matter about the money wise. It just matters that you have something and you're able to get out there and shoot and just have the,
practice.
Practice, yeah.
What you got, bro?
So I'll pretty much scout. Scout, can't scout too much. Uh, like food sources, water source, find out where they're bedding, that sort of thing. You
Right.
know.
Trail cameras will help you with that.
Trail cameras are awesome. For somebody just coming in, I guess what I would say to do is probably find somebody else that's already into it a little bit.
Yeah,
They
no
don't have
doubt.
to be the Michael Waidells of the world, just
Right.
somebody that's killed a few deer,
Yeah,
Follow along in their footsteps and kind of learn what you can learn from them. And but the main thing that I would suggest is get a lot of practice.
yeah.
Practice is going to serve you well.
And like Evan said, I mean, it ain't all about your equipment. I mean,
No,
just being
not at all.
out there.
Yeah.
Being out there and having fun and learning. I mean,
Right.
That's
Learn from your mistakes.
That's
Learn
what I was
from
just about
everything
to
you
say.
do. Because
Yeah.
ain't nobody perfect.
Every mistake you make, just learn from it and try not to make the same mistake
Yep.
twice. Food sources, you brought that up. Key in on food sources. If you can walk around your property and find a tree that's dropping acorns, if you
Don't-
got a camera, put it on there. If you don't, look around for sign around the tree. If you can see tracks or droppings or
scrapes.
scrapes or
rubs.
anything, yeah.
What about them hedge apples? Because me and you seen deer eating on hedge apples this
Yeah,
early
I
season.
forgot to tell you about that. We were over there last week, and there was a doe eating a hedge apple by the
Really?
road.
2 of them. Maybe.
Yeah, 2 of 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's-
and it's awful early. I figured that would be like a last resort
Right.
deal, but
Maybe
And they got all
acorns
them
are dropping
acorns
early.
and stuff over there.
no. Yeah, acorns
Like-
are starting to drop already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that was their food source before acorns started dropping.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're new into bow hunting, the main thing that I suggest you do, like I said, go to Timberwolf Archery and Outdoors first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Go up there, have the guys up there hook you up with a good bow if you're in Middle Tennessee, and get you all set up with some arrows and everything you need to go hunting. And they can probably give you a lot better tips than I could. Let them get you set up. Go in there, practice as much as you possibly can. And
That's the main thing.
that is the main
is-
thing.
Is making a good shot after
Right.
you get the deer in front of you, being
Right.
able to do something with it.
Right.
They have outdoor range, indoor range. They have everything you could think of, really.
There's so much you think, well, if there's deer there, I can hit him, but there's so much
We
more.
know from experience
Yes,
that ain't
we
true.
do. Getting your bow drawn
man.
back in front of a deer is another.
But also, we've just now started practicing because you started shooting bows. Well, I guess you shot too, but y'all never practiced during the summer. Y'all
No.
just picked up y'all's bows and went. Y'all
The
shot
bow
it 1 or
season.
2 times and shot.
Most of
then
the time,
went.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we never were really, really successful. We always had fun and
Yeah.
stuff like that, but
When bow season was over, we was done with it.
Yep.
Right.
Y'all put it back in the case and just left
Yeah.
it.
it was just a phase,
Yep.
just until gun season got there.
Right.
So yeah, man, just get over food, find you some acorns, any kind of droppings, tracks, anything you can find, and use it to your advantage. But number one thing you can do is just find a friend that's already been doing it, that has harvested deer, and follow along with them. So that covers that. Y'all got anything you want to add to it?
No, I think that's
I
pretty
think it's about
pretty good.
Let's see. So I will add to that. So something that I do every year, I don't talk a whole lot about it, but I do it. If I'm walking around, something that I key on, which some people might, if you're new to hunt, you might not recognize this, but you can look around and see like eye level trees or bushes or whatever. And if you can find a trail that leads out to somewhere, look around on the bushes and you can see where they've grazed, and it's woody browse is what they call it. You can see where they've ate all that stuff off. And it'll almost tell you the amount of deer that's in the area, because if there's little to no greenery eye level or below,
Right.
there's probably a
Lot.
bunch of deer running
Yeah.
around there.
That's a good tip.
We've got some places over there on our farm here in Chapel Hill that are tore all to pieces.
Yeah.
And then there's some that they don't mess with.
Yeah.
But that's another good thing you could do, especially with bow season, because you want to be close to them. So,
Right.
Crystal asked, this is a good question. It kind of leads off of that because we're talking about food sources, but she asked, how does the abundance of acorns affect a deer season as a whole, and how does it or how did it? So last year we had some change in patterns due to acorns.
Yeah.
Early season they're on beans and stuff like that, and as soon as them acorns start dropping, they completely change their pattern.
Right. Yeah. And last year there was so many of them. You hardly Hickman County. We pretty much just didn't see any last part.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
the
how you
second
killed
part
your
of the
deer
season.
last year too, isn't it? That 6-pointer.
Yeah. So early it was.
It's bow season.
I think it was October. But
Yeah.
anyway, I was coming out of my stand one evening, and up by our pond, there's a big red oak on the back side of the pond. And as I was coming out, I seen a group of deer there eating acorns under the tree. And I call them hot trees. When they're dropping like that, and deer gather
Yeah.
under one tree, they got some, the acorns got something. I think it's called tannin is what it's called.
Makes it bitter.
Makes it bitter.
Yeah.
Some trees have more than others.
I was reading on that a little while ago. I think the white oak is the sweetest.
White oak has the
Yeah,
least amount of
yeah,
tannin.
yeah.
Yeah. But I think it also differs per tree too.
Okay.
So
yeah.
even like a red oak is going to have more tannin than a white oak, but there are red oaks that have less tannin than other red oaks.
Right. Yeah.
And you probably I'm not real good about trees, but I know the different sawtooth and all that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different kind of red oaks in Tennessee.
Water oak and there's a water oak.
I'm not exactly sure on how all
Yeah,
they
it's,
work.
it's a bunch. Yeah, it's a bunch of different.
But yeah, I call it a hot tree. If you get one that they're just absolutely demolishing under the bottom of it,
Yeah.
that's one you want to sit under, especially early season during bow. But that will affect your season major once they start dropping.
Yeah.
What you got on that, Evan?
Y'all really filled in all the question marks, I do suppose.
And let's see,
Pros and cons, tips and tricks,
pros and cons on self-processing. Crystal said.
and tricks and
Self-processing.
tips.
I tell you, I want to add something to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
They say that the swamp white oak was their favorite. That's what I was reading.
Do we have those in Tennessee?
Yes, I think we do. And let's see. Oh, it's something I didn't know that I read tonight that I jotted down here. They eat pine cones.
They eat pine
Pine cones.
cones.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Never seen one
I
eat a
did-
pine cone.
Me neither.
Back in elementary school, I used to take a pine cone and put peanut butter on it and let birds eat it. That's about the closest thing I knew to something eating pine cones.
Said they'll eat pine cones and pine needles.
Really?
I did not know that.
I did not know that.
Now I know they'll eat those. I'm not good with names, but they'll eat those little things that's got the little seeds in them. The long things that are green. That
Green
kinda curve.
beans?
They look kind of like green bean pods, but they're bigger. I don't know the names of them. But they eat them regularly.
They grow on trees. Or,
Yeah, and they fall on the ground. They turn brown and fall on the ground.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That's
They got like 4 or 5 seed looking things in them.
yeah. I know
They'll
what you're talking
tear
about.
those up. I'll have to look that up and see if
Yeah.
I can figure out what they're
Yeah.
called. But I always look for those too.
Says the water oak drop first. Drop their acorns first.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had on that.
Yeah. But that will, so early season, let's stay on that subject for just a second because I feel like there's a lot we can add to
Yeah.
that. Early season, if you've got a bean field around that you're, like a lot of people will ride around and watch bean fields in the
Yeah.
evening time just to see what's in
Yeah.
their area. And you'll see people on TV doing it a lot too. If you can find, like if you own property close to that bean field, if you can go in there early season and find you some acorns that are getting ready to drop or starting to drop, and the beans are drying up, all that happens real fast. So them beans will dry up, and as soon as they dry up, they're going to switch over to acorns.
Yeah.
And so if you can go on your property, ours is set up perfect for this because we got a huge bean field
Yeah.
on the north side of our property, and you can drive down the road and look at it.
Yeah.
Well, our property's on the back side of it.
That's how you got that non-typical.
It is. That's a whole nother story. But you can go down the back side of it, and that's our property, and there's a thick row of timber with acorn tree or red oaks all in it.
Yeah.
There's a few white oaks, I think, but they're sporadic, and they don't drop all the time. But if you watch those beans and wait on them to start drying up right before they harvest them deer will switch over.
Yeah.
Do it every year.
Yeah.
So even if they're not on your property right now, just watch the beans.
Yeah. And
because they're coming.
Pull them. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that deer that I shot a few years back off that bean field, they were already dried up. It was in December.
Okay. I couldn't.
I think it was.
What,
Yeah, it was beans back then too.
Yeah.
But they left them standing. They didn't harvest them.
Yeah.
But they were chasing over in that bean field. Yeah.
That's where you first seen it, right?
I seen him in the bean field, and then I snuck around the backside and got a stand in.
Moved the stand. Yeah.
Got him the next day.
We got a podcast on that, if I'm not mistaken.
We do. Yeah. Yep. Crystal said, "Are y'all ready to move on off of that one?"
Yeah.
Pros and cons of self-processing and any tricks that you may have.
I don't have a lot.
You don't know
on
much about
I
that,
don't
do
know
you?
much about that.
I've done it with you once.
I'm looking forward to
We
learning.
got videos
about
on that. What deer was that?
It
Was it one of
your
my
deer,
deer?
It was
wasn't
one
it?
of your deer. Yeah.
I don't remember
One of
exactly
your
which one.
bucks last year, I think.
But I know one of the pros to it, it's a lot cheaper than
Yeah.
taking it to a processor, and you can get a lot more meat normally.
Yeah. Well, at a processor, you get more meat.
Yeah, but it's a little bit
Yeah,
leaner.
they don't cull much meat out of their stuff. So that's one of the cons right there. Is if you take it to a processor, they don't clean it. Well, I say they don't clean it. They probably clean it to a lot of people's standards, but they don't clean it to my standards.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna clean a lot of that silver skin and a lot of the fat and all that stuff. I'm getting rid of. I'm not gonna keep it there.
Yeah.
But we have some processors in the area that are pretty good. They're above average, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And I ain't never had a big problem with the taste of the meat or quality. But now, if you harvest the deer and you field dress it and you load it in the truck, it's an hour drive from my house to the nearest processor. By the time you do all that, I could have hung it up and had the meat off of it and
been halfway done.
halfway done with it. Not to mention, I'll have to come back home and then go back down there 3, 4, 5 days later
Right.
You get a lot quicker.
to pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you do it yourself, you know what's in it. And when I was a kid, processing wasn't a thing until I was older.
Right.
I never imagined taking a deer to a processor until I was 16 or 17 years old.
Right.
So we done it my whole life. We done it ourselves. And quality was never an issue at all. Now, since we've took it to a processor, there's been a few, not many, and we've used a few different processors. So there's been a few different things that have kind of turned me against doing the processing route, or taking it to a processor, should I say.
We've seen some things too that just are kind of funky.
Yeah. There's some people that don't take pride in their work, but now we got some good ones around here.
Yeah.
But it's just, for me, it makes more sense to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Unless I'm in a crunch and can't get to it.
Yeah, but I mean, buy the equipment one time and you got it, and then I mean,
You'll make your money's back quick.
Yeah. Well, and you get the hang of it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
We done it for a few years. What was it, 3 or 4 years? We would take all our deer.
Yeah.
Well, now we've got I had all the equipment back in the day and got rid of it, but now we got it again, and we're planning on doing all of our own deer again this year. Everything goes good.
Probably be some videos on that.
Yeah, maybe that's something. If you guys are interested in videos on the processing part, let us know. And I don't know, it'd be kind of funny with YouTube how that works, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that they'll.
yeah.
I thought you was about to say it'd be kind of funny watching Brian with.
That would be funny
that
too.
would be a good one.
That
That'd be
would for
hilarious.
sure be fun.
I'll probably have a mask and a
Mask and
shield,
gloves
you know.
and
Drink you a bottle of Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that'll.
I'm not looking forward to that. But
Yeah, if you're all interested, let us know. We'll try to make it okay for YouTube, I would say, I guess.
black and white.
Yeah, we'll have to do a lot of black and white.
Oh, for sure.
I think once you get it off the animal,
I think once you get the gutting part done, I think it's a little bit more lean.
so
but
just field dress it without.
yeah,
Yeah.
just try to keep it as little the
Yeah.
least amount of gory as you can, I guess.
I mean, because all these processors, they all have videos on
That's what I was about to
YouTube,
say,
and they
yeah.
have
There's like butcher
Yeah.
videos.
But they got all
Yeah.
they've already caped it and everything.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
imagine
done.
you probably got to get rid of the head and the skin and
Yeah.
all that stuff,
Yeah,
or the hide, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can try to do that.
yeah.
I don't see
Yeah.
why we couldn't. Anything to add to that?
No.
I don't think so.
I do got something to add to that. One of the tips that I can use for your processing, if you want to do it yourself, that you've never done it a whole lot, is try not to puncture the gut sac. Now, I don't care if you barely puncture it or if you get it good. I don't care. Anything that stuff touches when you puncture that is ruined.
Oh yeah.
So don't use it.
That's Sweeney's favorite part. Just puncture it right in front of him. He loves the smell of it.
We give Sweeney a hard time on this
Oh, yeah.
podcast.
You know, I'm used to it. It don't bother me. I wouldn't know what to think if y'all didn't do it, so it don't bother me now.
Yeah, but any of those contaminants you want to get rid of. You don't want that stuff in your food.
Try to keep as least amount of hair out of it as possible.
Yeah,
too.
hair is a big problem.
It's hard to wash off.
Not to mention, if you do puncture it, finishing that deer is going to be really
Oh yeah,
a task.
It'll make you want to just throw the deer away almost. It's that bad.
yeah.
We've done it a couple times.
I seen Kevin with one of my deer
I
blow
was
up in
just
his
fixing
face.
to, yeah. So another something else to add to that is if it's hot outside.
Don't wait.
Well, it don't even really have to be hot, I don't guess.
No.
Just as long as you leave it.
They build gases. So if you shoot a deer and it sits in the woods, if you can't find him for 4 hours, if it's I really don't care if it's even cold outside.
Yeah, it don't
They
matter.
build gases immediately as soon as they start, as soon as they pass away. When you go to gut that deer, that stomach's going to be swelled, and if you touch it, it's coming out at a high rate of speed. We know that from experience.
We do.
I think I had to almost take a shower in the creek one time.
He had it all over him, and I mean, and that was, that was in the days when I didn't even field dress my deer. You know what I'm saying? I let him field dress my deer, and
Bet you the ladies love
matter of
that.
fact, it was my deer.
It was your
It
deer.
was my deer. That's
Yeah,
right,
it had set. You got that deer 2 or 3 hours before I come out of the stand. I come out and he was on a was it a radio flyer?
wagon where I pulled him from the yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, it was pretty warm. I was thinking to myself, ooh, it's gonna be a bad day.
Yeah. And then, as luck would have it, he punctured it. Well, I guess because it was swollen.
It was so tight to the hide that it was.
Yeah.
But I barely touched it, and
it was a bad deal.
Yeah. So that's a trick, or not really a trick, but
Tip.
a tip. Yeah, and take it seriously because
Yes.
it's a mess if you don't. Mr. Joe Cook, I've seen him here lately. He's been watching some of our stuff and liking our stuff.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I'm actually working in his house out here in Unionville, and great guy. He's a hunter. Just moving to the area, don't know many people, but good guy. So
Well, good deal.
yeah. I think he's gonna come down to Timberwolf with us Friday night. Hopefully,
yeah?
he says he's gonna give it a shot. Yeah,
Good
so
deal.
hopefully, yeah.
Well, we appreciate him. We appreciate him chiming in and giving
Big
us some
time.
content. I got a bottle of cover scent for him. If
Okay.
you want to take it to him.
Great, yeah. Yeah, I told him I was gonna hook him up with some. So yeah.
I'm also going to take care of Mr. Aaron, and we'll get your old lady a T-shirt or something too.
Oh man, I'm sure she's got a bunch of them, but she'll appreciate it.
Hey, speaking of T-shirts, Amber took one of your shirts and she cut it. You remember that?
So yeah,
One of your favorite shirts.
It
She
was
cut it.
makes me sick.
What's she doing that for?
My favorite was it a -1 shirt?
It was I think it said I got it done with -1.
So
Yeah.
she's cutting up -1 shirts, and I don't even have
Yeah,
one.
she
You
at
don't
the
got
bottom
one?
of it.
I ain't
yeah.
got one.
You ain't got one.
I ain't got one.
We got to get you
Hey,
one.
matter of fact, the last tournament we went to, y'all both had on shirts now.
But you had your fancy jersey on.
All right. Well, if it makes you
I
feel,
ain't got one of them.
if it makes you feel any better, I bought you, me, and Evan a T-shirt the other day to sublimate -1 on. Right. I get in the bedroom. I think it was -1. It might have been Petty Outdoors. I can't remember.
It's -1.
Let me guess, she messed up one of them, so that was mine. That was mine.
No, I didn't mess up one.
Okay.
I messed up two of them.
Oh.
And it was mine and yours. So now there's just one in there, and it's Evan's size. And I ain't done it yet, but I'll probably mess that one up too. I'm not a T-shirt maker.
Hey,
I just do the best I
he
can.
just stretched it out a little bit. I'll give it to him.
Hey, you'd have to turn your head like this right here. And if you're not watching on YouTube, it's about a 45-degree angle. The logo on the front is way cocked sideways.
Lord.
Way bad.
How'd you do it?
Then he managed
man.
to double print one.
Yeah, then I printed one, and it missed a little piece of the logo, and I thought I could fix it, and I just made it worse.
Everyone I've ever seen you do was great. I mean,
Hey, mate.
Well, I'll go in there and get that one for you. You can wear it if you want to. Just put everybody stand on the side of the heel whenever you're wearing it.
right.
Yeah.
Make you look like a smart guy. Mr. Joe Cook, I didn't read his question. Yeah, his question. How do we feel about Kentucky allowing you to hunt over bait?
So that's on private property. I'm assuming, like if you.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's an assumption, but I would.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
would assume. Yeah.
I mean, my thing with that is just, I mean, if you got a lot of deer, if you're baiting deer, then you're gonna have a lot of deer in one area.
Yep.
So disease and stuff is my.
Yeah, that's a
That's
good
what
one.
I've always thought about.
Slop
that.
and
but,
spit?
well, that's like
Yeah.
drinking out of CWD. That's
Yeah.
like drinking out of.
You could say the same about a water source too, though.
That's what I was just saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, well, no, dirty water, so real dirty is what
Well,
causes. Like
they like stagnant water apparently.
stagnant water is where
Yeah.
CWD
Yeah, but
originated, right?
I would assume, yeah, something like that.
Like,
But
if you have a pond, say, or like we just put in swimming pools on our property, little kiddie swimming pools.
Mm-hmm.
If a infected deer drinks out of it, that contaminates the water. So you could say the same about that's what I meant. You can say the same about a water source.
But I would also say that. Okay, so you're saying contaminated, like he got contaminated somewhere else, and then he.
by another deer, then
But that you can't help. What I'm saying is like, say you had standing like a drought, and then standing water that was very very old and what's the word? Like
Contaminated.
Contaminated is what I'm trying to say. And it was just you had a drought, no fresh water coming in, and then one deer drinks out of it and passes it to the whole herd. You know. But I mean.
So same concept with feed is what you're saying.
It's what I've always thought is if you're feeding.
You're gathering a group of deer.
yeah,
larger
gathering a
number
group
of
of deer and they're going to be right next to each other.
Yeah,
and
like
everything.
if you're feeding deer during season, to me, I mean that's my biggest fear is a bunch of them being that close together, eating, so to speak.
Right.
Well, I do have something on that. Yeah, but how I feel about it, it's really up to you, personal preference, honestly. But in a state like Tennessee where you can't bait, deer look at food as like a food source pretty much. But in states that do allow it and people do it, I've seen that they consider food as danger, so they try to stay away from it. But so like if you're shooting deer over a corn pile and they see corn and you've done it for a while, they'll take that as somebody's here and that's danger. I don't need to go near that food.
Yeah, like kind of like feeding the bears. So
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
feed the bears
yeah.
and they get used to.
Yeah,
used to
so
it.
say you hunt over food and then there's a bunch of deer there and you shoot one deer and the rest of the herd flies off. They see that food as a danger for their safety. Then they find somewhere else to eat.
Makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So they could do it they could do it at that particular area is what you're saying.
So like our water source, if we start killing deer over these water sources, they could find our water sources that we have as danger and not come towards them.
That makes sense.
So if we,
I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
but I feel like also, even if you do shoot a deer just without anything, and there's multiple deer there and you shoot one deer and they figure something's wrong, they ain't going to come back to that spot anyways.
For a
Yeah.
period of time,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, my concern is like if you're first and foremost, I don't particularly care if you hunt over food.
Right.
That don't bother me at all because it's legal to hunt a cornfield. It just got harvested, and there's
Right.
corn all over the ground.
Right.
So how could you really argue that it's not okay to hunt over a food source?
Right.
That's your personal preference. I don't particularly think I would hunt over a or a food source or corn or anything like that. But also we got mineral blocks and we hunt over those. That's legal in Tennessee. My concern would be this: if you got a food source that's gathering that many deer together in one spot and it's right up and under your stand, every time you go to that stand, there's gonna be some kind of scent left. And next thing you know, you're gonna have the deer in that area completely ready for you. They're gonna have you patterned more than you're gonna have them patterned. And what you're gonna do is any kind of mature bucks for sure. Maybe the smaller deer or does or whatever won't care, but the mature bucks are going to know that you come during the daylight, so you're going to make all your deer nocturnal.
Yep.
And then you're going to be sitting there wondering why you never see deer in the daylight,
or they just go to a completely different spot.
Yeah,
in
and
general.
they've got you figured out.
Yep.
So that would be my concern with it. But I don't have a problem with it. I think if you want to hunt over a corn pile, hunt over a corn pile.
Yeah.
I've just always thought, like, if you, when I think of a food source, I'm talking about a big quantity, like to where there's a bunch of them eating. I don't know. To me, whenever they're eating, it seems like they could pass it back and forth easier. You know what I mean?
He says baiting deer. So is he talking about just like bag corn, dumping it on the ground?
Yeah, he's not talking about a food source. He's talking about like you bring in something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
No.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I wouldn't hunt over like a cornfield, because that's, you see, you're not putting that there for the deer to eat. You're just sitting.
When you talk about a cornfield, you're talking about a cornfield,
like a field,
a large area,
acres. Yeah.
If you're talking about a bag of corn or a bag of salt or whatever, you're talking about a small
area. Yeah.
They got to come to this precise location for you to harvest.
So that's what I was talking about with the danger. They see that one small pile and they're going to be like, "Let's go somewhere else."
Go ahead, Ray.
No, you go ahead.
I think before. And like I said, if they legalized it here in Tennessee, I'd probably throw a bag of corn out.
Yeah.
But I think the best thing you could do if you're that serious about wanting to get deer in a certain area is make you a
food plot.
Not a food plot. A pinch point.
Yeah.
Go in and do some hinge cutting and make it to where you can funnel the deer to your particular area.
That's what you done this year with the lawnmower and grass.
That's exactly right. Now, you can do it in trees.
Yeah.
You can do it in grass. So deer are like us, man. They don't want to walk. They don't want to walk through thickets and briars and all that. So
less resistance.
If you can make it easy for them to go a certain way, they'll go that way more often than not. Just this year, we won't speak on direct details, but
we've had deer. I've had deer. He had deer. We all had deer walk the trail that we have cut for them.
4 days before.
Right. We went in 4 days before the velvet hunt. And we had a couple particular deer that we were looking at. And so I went in, and there's a bedding area. I'm trying to paint you a picture here. There's a bedding area about 200 yards straight ahead of me. And then I know the deer is coming across in front of me going to a bean field that's to my left. So I went in, and I took a lawnmower. It's all briars and thicket between me and the bedding area. Took a lawnmower and cut a path directly from their bedding area, brought it up in front of me, brought it to me into bow range, comfortable bow range for me, and then I took it and angled it back towards where they were going to the bean field, knowing that they would take it because it's a lot easier, to walk. And you'll see a video eventually. The plan worked out great. Everything worked out great. I just didn't do my part.
No, you did. You definitely did your part.
Well,
that was out of your hands.
We wasn't able to make connection. I'll say it like that.
But the deer done exactly what we wanted him to do.
He came,
And not only did he once, he done it twice.
I had two come straight towards me, dog barked. They went the opposite way.
Yeah.
So
anything can change a deer's pattern. You think about it. It's you can make it a lot more complicated than it really is. But small things, man. Like if you go in and hinge cut, say 5 or 6 trees. If you know deer coming through an area that's 100 yards wide, cut 5 or 6 trees and block off 50 yards of it,
All right.
and you can put them in a 50-yard.
What do you mean by
Right.
hinge cut for the people that don't know?
So when you hinge cut, you don't cut it off at the ground. You cut it off maybe eye level. And I ain't talking about large, huge trees. I'm
Yeah,
just talking
just
about something
sticks,
that'll get
yeah.
in their way.
Yeah.
So, and it also clears the canopy, and it allows the undergrowth to grow a little better, and it makes it a little thicker. It's good for bedding.
Mm-hmm.
You can use it for bedding, but you can also use it as a funnel. And so cut it about eye level. Just hinge cut it. When I say hinge, cut 3/4 of the way through the tree, let it fold over, and leave it. Don't cut it all the way off. And that's about all you do. But I like that. I like that rather than putting out a bag of corn, I believe.
Yeah. It proves to. I mean, we've firsthand seen it. It works.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah,
I think it puts a little bit more strategy into your hunting scenarios.
it does. You can, if you go like somebody I would suggest you watch. He's really, really smart. Well, there's 2 people I'll suggest you watch. If you watch Drury Outdoors, they're some of the smartest people in the hunting industry.
I agree.
They their land management is absolutely A+. And the second one is Lee Lakowski. I don't know if you've seen him or
I
not,
don't think so.
but Lee and Tiffany is the name of their hunting show. But he's probably superior to anybody else in the hunting
Really?
industry as far as land management. And they grow some giant deer.
What part of?
They're in the Midwest, I believe. So they got all the stuff working
Yeah.
for him. But he goes in, man, and he hinge cut and food plots. He does the whole 9 yards, and every year in and year out, they kill giant deer.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, land management and all that stuff will. The feed, I feel like that's I won't say a lazy man's
Mhm.
food plot, but that's kind of what it is.
Right.
It's if you don't have a lot of time to do any work like that on a property, maybe that's what you do. You go in and throw out some corn and let them come to it. If you're in Kentucky or a state that legalized it, but here in Tennessee, we'll be doing it the old-fashioned way until TWRA
Yeah.
changes their mind.
Right.
You said something when we were inside, whenever we started going over this a little bit. You said something, and I kept it, but I can't remember it. We were talking about it, and you said something about the baiting, and it was really good. I don't know what you said, though. Trying to think.
Was it not the nocturnal stuff?
No. It was something about just, I don't even remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
I'll probably remember it here in a couple minutes.
So we got those covered. That's all our topics.
Yeah. We're going to do like a fact of the week or something. Trick of the week.
Yeah, let's do, since we're on kind of we're on the people that don't hunt a whole lot. We'll talk to those people today. Let's do what not to do. What's some things you shouldn't do if you're new to hunting and you want to be successful?
You can go first, Sweeney.
I feel like y'all picking on me.
We ain't going to pick on you.
No, we're not going to pick on you today.
No, it's going to be serious.
What not to do?
Not today.
Car keys.
Happens every
I'm sorry.
time.
See what I mean, man?
Happens
I
every
knew.
time.
I knew.
I
He
said
had
it
that
quietly.
plan. He had that plan.
I wasn't going
He
to do
had
it today.
He had it planned.
I was
though.
going to let you slide.
No, I wouldn't.
I believe you, but he had it planned.
I
He
had
had
it
it
playing the whole time.
He don't even deny it. Let's see what not to do. I'm gonna say I can't think, man. I ought to be able to, but
Go ahead, Evan. You got something
what's
lined
yours,
up?
Evan?
I really don't. I just kind of.
I know. I just threw that on y'all. I know that.
I was gonna play it by ear. Just whatever y'all choose, I was gonna.
I figured the truth would come out if I just put it on you all at once.
It's hard. It really is.
I got
Things not
got
to do.
It shouldn't be that hard.
I got a good one.
I think I got
I
one.
bet I star in this story, but go ahead.
No, it's not a story.
No, okay.
You don't start.
He stars in this story.
This is just something I've learned over time.
But I was thinking, because I've done this before, and if the deer knows you're there, and they're looking at you, don't take the shot. Be 100% confident
You're talking about with a bow.
with the bow. Yeah,
You got to be specific
yeah.
here.
Be yeah, with a bow, with a compound bow, crossbow. Really, it don't matter. But if the deer knows you're there, and you're not 100% confident in skills.
See, now he's picking on me.
No, I'm not picking on you because I've done it. I done it with a doe, and then she was right there under me.
All right, but wait a minute. If a deer's looking right at you and he's not moving, why? And you already drawed back on him, why wouldn't you cut it loose? Tell me.
Well,
because I will.
You didn't let me finish.
If he's looking,
You
We
didn't
know.
let me finish. Oh, Brian, trust me, we know. You may sling it over him, but you'll definitely try.
Just say it like
Yeah.
this: if there's a deer that's on high alert,
Yeah,
aim a little lower than you usually
a little
would,
lower. Yeah,
because they're going to duck.
yeah. That's pretty much what I was going.
That's what
say.
you was getting at.
Yeah, I was trying to build it up, Sweeney, your turn.
You come
Or
up with
Kevin.
anything yet, or you want me to go?
no, you go.
Mine is. Let's see. I've come up with 2 or 3 of them, but I'll try to pick out which one I think is the best. If you know where a group of deer's bedding early season, their patterns are real tight early season. So as soon as bow season starts, the velvet hunt in Tennessee specifically, if you know where they're bedding at, don't go in the mornings and think that you're going to get set up without
Right.
them catching you, because
Yes.
they do not bed far from where they eat.
Right.
There's some cases I've seen that a deer's whole home range during the summer is 200 yards.
Wow.
Uh,
For
no.
sure, run them off.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's nearly impossible. And in early season, they're bedded in groups, the bachelor groups. So you're not going to get through.
Right.
If you, here's the thing: if you go in early season and you bump a bachelor group of deer, it don't take but once or twice and they're gone.
Yeah.
And once they figure out that area is
Yeah.
bad, they're gone.
Yeah.
We've seen this happen.
Yeah.
And that's something that I highly suggest you look at.
That gives me one. I've got one now.
All right.
So early, say bow season, if you shoot a deer and you're pretty sure you got a good shot on him and he runs off out of your sight, don't go after him immediately. Wait a little while.
Smart.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We've also you've had encounters with deer that still been alive and had to take care of them. That was with rifles though.
Well, we've had it happen with bows too.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I said bows is, because you can pretty much know. If you think you can pretty much, I'm just saying, if you think you got a good shot on him, but he runs far enough to get away from you where you can't see him.
What would your time limit be? Hour,
20,
hour
30
or two?
minutes at least, depending
Yeah,
on.
if you got a good shot,
Yeah.
20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If you watched it land right behind the leg, 20, 30 minutes.
At least, yeah.
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 I think I got one more just to add to it.
All right.
When you're coming out of your stand and you don't see anything, don't come out there with your head down. I heard this on TikTok or something actually, but I remembered it because it was smart. Don't come out of your stand all sad, droopy, and just like head down, not caring about nothing. Come out as the same way that you came in. If you came in with confidence and motivation, come out the exact same way. Because there could be, say you're walking down the same trail you came in, there could be a deer right there standing for you, and that could be your opportunity at it, Don't do it at night, of course. But if you're coming out and it's still daylight and you can still see, just walk in there, even at dark. Just stay confident, whatever you do, all the time. You see no deer, oh, well, you get them next time.
Definitely going to your stand, coming out of your stand is. We know that. That's you
A lot of the deer we harvested
is-
has been going in or coming out.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's one of the most active
Yeah.
times, is especially coming out.
Yeah.
because
Yeah. That y'all are bringing up stuff that's making me think of more.
Yeah.
During November, especially, this goes really for all season, but during November, you might want to put your phone in your pocket,
Yeah. Definitely.
They're gonna see it
regardless. Well, I ain't talking about them seeing it. I'm talking
You
about
not
you
seeing
seeing
them.
them.
Oh,
Deer,
yeah,
the
yeah.
way they come through in the middle of November chasing
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
If you got that phone in your hand
Yes.
scrolling through TikTok or Facebook,
Yes,
I've had
you're
that.
gonna miss something.
yes.
5 minutes in the stand, I had the biggest deer of my life run past me at Mach 13, and I wasn't on my phone or nothing. Luckily, because I literally just got in the stand. But if I'd have had my phone, I wouldn't have seen him. He ran how many yards do you think it was? 100.
Which one?
The biggest one with the 7mm.
Across the field?
It went across. It was about where that feeder was.
Yeah, he probably ran. The feeder didn't have food in it, by the way.
Yeah, no, it wasn't there. The feeder was not there. I
He
should have
probably
watched my
ran-
words on that one.
Yeah, because people, you know how people are.
Yeah, they'll try to get us. Yeah.
He probably ran 100 yards across the field before you got shot on.
Yeah, and it was just so quick. Everything happened so quick. I was able to get the gun up, and this is my first time using the 7mm because I thought it'd be a great idea to take a 7mm into deer stand and blow a deer in half, you know. And I ended up being able to shoot him, but I was not able to make the greatest shot in the world. And he dropped in his tracks, but we had to get Ninja over here to sneak his way over there and pop him another good one. And
Clean up work,
yeah. That's half your deer too, right there.
Speaking of phones, I missed a big old fish by being on my phone.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
I had my pole drung in the water, and I was talking to people.
Yeah, this goes for fishing and hunting. We're not talking about just hunting.
Crystal, she won't ever let me. She talks about it still.
Yeah.
She was sitting there beside me in my pole about wanting the water, and she's like, I guess you'll stay on your phone. You
Gotta
know,
pay better
mean
attention.
Yeah.
Mean mildly.
Oh, I've had 4 or 5 years ago, and I got lucky and still got him. But 4 or 5 years ago, I had at the time, probably one of the bigger deer I've ever killed. I was on my phone scrolling Facebook or whatever, and looked up, and he was standing there looking at me at about 50 yards. It was muzzleloader season, and I had to take a shot I probably wouldn't have took usually,
Right.
but I made it happen.
Yeah.
Got him down.
Yeah.
So yeah, your phone will get you in trouble
Oh yeah.
if you're not careful.
I tell you something else too. Your phone, when it starts getting dark, you might as well have a flashlight sitting in your stand.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
And something else to add to that, that's a good point too. When you get that phone out and it's close to dark, that bright light in your eyes, when you look away from the phone,
it.
you can't see
nothing.
You can't see hardly nothing.
If I do it, I try to turn my, like when it starts getting to like evening time when it's starting to get kind of juicy, I just turn my phone light or my like the brightness all the way down. I turn it all the way down because if I gotta check the time or something, just so you know I'm not doing anything illegal, I just check the time. It's not as bright and just put it back in my pocket.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're new coming in hunting, keep your phone in your pocket. Don't take it out.
No.
Yeah. More times than not, it'll cost you.
Oh,
Yeah. And when you're fresh into it, you're gonna need all the time you can get.
Because it's gonna happen right when you
Oh,
think
yeah.
you look around.
When you think you're in the clear, it's going to happen right then because you're never in the clear.
You look around and think, oh, okay, let me just look Facebook right quick. Mm-hmm. And that's when it's gonna happen.
Yep.
They pop up at the most random times. Sometimes you don't even hear them. You just look up and they're standing right there in front of you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something else that I think my dad told me this. Somebody had told him, and I don't know if it's I don't know if a lot of people go by it or not, but if you think about this, it makes sense. If you're looking for deer in the woods, or I guess even in the field, if you can find, is it horizontal? The line that goes side to side? If you can find something that's horizontal, a lot of times that's something that's not usually there. Think of how many things in the woods that grow or are horizontal. Maybe it fell down a tree or something, but you're going to know that's there.
Most things are vertical.
Okay, so tell me again. So if you're looking
for deer
Yeah.
in the woods or whatever, you're not looking for a whole deer ever.
You're just looking for,
You're looking
right,
for pieces.
right.
So if you find a horizontal line,
Yeah.
like if you see a horizontal line in between two trees,
I like that.
That'll be like the back or something.
it could be the
back
top
or
of
belly.
the back or the belly
Yeah.
or anything like that.
You know, last weekend we went to Hickman and I put them watermelons out and all that stuff. We were sitting out there in the field in the truck, you know, till dark, looking around, and
Right.
that hill, you know, the hill I'm talking about, like going to Bobby's stand. I got to. That's true. That's true what you just said, because we got to seeing they blend so good. That field hadn't been. I mean, that hill hadn't been bush hogged, and it's grew up, but they blend so good. You can literally sit there and find a deer on the hill and not blink and miss him.
Yeah.
And then in a minute, it's kind of like you said, a horizontal line. You can see just the top of his back, you know, and he'll appear again, and he'll be 20 yards somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? But that's good. That's good.
Just
That
pretty
works.
much anything out of the ordinary.
I've always used it and went by it, and it's helped me out a few times.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is just hold your eyes still.
Yeah.
If you're in a spot where you can see a good ways, hold your eyes still, and any movement that you'll see, it'll be it'll pop on you, because
I tell you what, that hill that I was just talking about and the one in Timmy's field or grew up, and we this past weekend we was at both of them, and you cannot. I mean, we drove all the way through Timmy's stand and stopped and was looking. Went to take off, and 2 or 3 deer ran. That we was sitting there just with everything we had, looking and scanning, and couldn't find a deer nowhere. Take off, and then you see them run. You see them run.
High fields like that, it's hard.
They blend. It's amazing how they blend.
I've been sitting there and hunting before, and hunted for 3 or 4 hours and not seeing a deer, and then climb down and there's deer in the center of the field. The very center of the field, and they had to be there.
Yeah.
I've also got in that stand before, and been sitting there, and seen a deer stand up in the center of that field.
Timmy's field?
Yeah, it had to be bedded down when I got there, and it just stood straight up. I seen it when it stood up.
Yeah. So I don't know if I told you or not. Timmy's field this past weekend, we seen like 10 or 12. So weekend before last, we went and there was no deer in Timmy's stand behind the store, none, 0. Well, they were all in our stand at the house.
Right.
Well, I mean in our field at the house. Well, this weekend it was vice versa. Hardly any in our field. But we went over there and pulled through the little opening and got in there, and they were running. You going up the road, and it's kind of an odd turn.
Right.
We got into the field, and they were running everywhere. So I don't know if I know you know what I'm. So if you're in the stand looking up the hill, you know how the tree line comes out?
Kind of like an S.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my blind right there to where I can see back up in that field. So the stand's here, the road's out here. If you put your blind across from the stand, you can hunt that field where you come in at.
Right.
The last 2 or 3 times I've hunted that stand, when I got ready to leave, there were deer
standing there
over there where you come in at.
Is that the field me and you hunted that one time?
It is.
And when the crossbow blew up on me?
Yeah. They travel that creek bed.
Yeah.
There's a creek bed that's right there between you and the road.
Yeah, and they also come in. I've been that creek, but they also come into that field. I've been standing at that opening. Me and Mark were standing at that opening a couple years ago, and we seen them cross the road.
Up the road,
up the road a little bit, and come in behind where I said I'm gonna put my blind.
Right
behind that little island of trees, what I call it. They come in behind that. So
we seen deer there last time we went because we had sticks or something.
Yeah, they were walking around up there.
Yeah, they were walking around. They never knew we were there though. I don't believe.
No, they still didn't. When we left, they didn't know we were there.
It was does, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So if you hunt that field, if you get where you can see that the opening where you come in, when it gets dark, the last 3 times we've hunted that stand, get ready to leave, and there's deer over there.
Yeah, that road is so quiet. There's nothing that goes on there.
Right.
That they don't look at it like a road. It's just dirt. It's all they just come across it.
They're also when we was leaving, they were beside so behind that stand, there's a little field and then the road, the main road, 270.
Right.
So there was also a ton of them in that field between the road and the stand.
Yeah.
So they're, like you said, they're coming in that creek bed, up through that creek bed. So if you hunt that stand, watch for that.
Watch that creek.
Me and you were going to hunt that stand, weren't we? And we ended up not doing it because it was so sketchy.
Yeah, that stand is dangerous.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hunt.
We ended up hunting on the hill by a fallen down tree, and we ended up getting brushed up real nice.
That's what I did.
That's probably the best option.
That's what I did when I was by myself, but we ended up getting the blind last year to keep from getting it. But now the year before is when we hunted in that stand.
Right.
We need to get some straps and redo all those stands.
That stand in particular, it needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just restrap it.
Really?
It's rusted all to heck. It's bad.
Yeah, the whole floor is almost rusted in too.
We got up there and we said, and you leaned forward too. It's not straight.
That stand's been around for probably 15 years.
Oh, yeah, forever. Yeah. Well, then we need to just I wonder about Bobby's, if it's safe if we strapped
It's
it.
been around about the same amount of time.
Probably all of them down there need to be replaced or.
I know Bobby's had a
re-strapped.
gap under the ladder the last time we
Oh
were there.
yeah, it can't. It definitely needs to be reworked. But I just mean I wonder if it's reworked, if it'd be safe. You know,
I don't know.
You'd probably have to get up there and
I
look
would
at it.
say
we need to check them.
anybody that hunts up there needs to be wearing a harness 100%
Yeah.
of the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Any of them stands because they're just so old. But yeah,
I'm about to take my camper up there, so I'll take my blind and
there you go.
just hunt my blind. You
They
know,
get you a saddle.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Saddle hunting. That's something we're all getting on.
Yeah.
We're getting on the train. I didn't think I would, but
Yeah.
I'm getting on the train.
Well, I mean, it's so convenient. You know,
It is
I mean,
convenient.
that's part
That's
I
the
like.
sole reason that I shot the deer I shot last year on
Yeah.
my bow. Because if I wouldn't have that saddle, there's no way I could have got there.
Right.
That's the point of the
But
saddle,
that's for
just go
another
somewhere.
podcast.
Yeah.
We can break that down on another
Saddle
podcast.
hunting.
And you know,
Different
you was
stands.
coming out of the woods. I remember that whole deal. We was on the phone when you seen that deer the night before.
I was talking to you when I seen him. Yeah.
And then the very next night, you're in the saddle.
I told you I was going to get him.
Yeah. And you did. You did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's another story right there. Yeah.
That's one of them early season deals.
Yeah.
They're so patternable early season.
Yeah, right.
I just got fortunate that one night me bumping them didn't run them completely out of the county.
That should have been Aaron's. That should have been one of Aaron's. He asked about that. That should have been the pattern because you can pattern them really, really well early season.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that
yeah,
I
early
think we
season
did say
hunting
that.
strategy.
Didn't we
Yep.
say that?
Yeah. Did we say that?
I don't know if we mentioned that when we were talking about it or not.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, y'all got anything else?
No.
Y'all about done?
I'm done.
I think it's about 11 something at night now.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And I got to be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Hey. sounds like a
11:32
good
right
time.
now.
Mm.
All right, so we'll hop off here. Like I said, coming in, Louisiana Cypress Smokehouse, best beef jerky in the land. Debate your mother. It's just how it is. If you want some, go to LouisianaCypressSmokehouse.com. Get yours today. Use code Petty Outdoors, no space, all caps, for 10% off your next order. Best jerky in the land.
100%. Cannot disagree.
All right, we will see y'all next time. And like I always say, get out in the woods and hunt something. Y'all have a good one.
See ya.
See ya. Don't think about taking my jerky now. Hey, it's good stuff.